Today we're driving the Land Rover Defender 110, so let's do a review. If Toyota has Land Cruiser, Land Rover has the Defender. Rebuilt in 2019, the current generation Defender is a full revolution from the original Defender. It now rides on the unibody platform as well, and we get to review it. In this exact spec, the Land Rover Defender 110X Dynamic SE P400 is priced at 10,190,000 Philippine pesos, with an additional 384,000 worth of accessories for this particular unit. In front, we get a very rugged, rounded, boxy design, which surely is instantly recognizable. Of course, we have here full LED headlights and DRLs. The front grille and Defender name on the hood are also very Land Rover. In addition, we have a bonnet decal which gives a very industrial look. The side shows us its classic roots with its simple and flat overall look. This rides on 20-inch dark grey alloy wheels wrapped in Goodyear all-terrain tires, and I think they really match this vehicle very well. On one side, we also have a side-mounted carrier which can hold some stuff that we can use for off-roading, as well as items that can be used during an emergency. And towards the back, we have a very boxy look, in fact, very flat. We also have the spare tire mounted here for a classic look, and with that, a side-opening tailgate. The LED taillights look very unique with their split 5-piece design. Once you do open that side-opening tailgate, it reveals around 786 liters of space, which is pretty standard for an SUV. There's also some underfloor storage here. And by the way, some numbers. Wading depth is 900mm, ground clearance of 280mm, and when in off-road mode, 291mm. And now we're inside the Land Rover Defender, and as you can see, we have here a very rugged, very simple, very straightforward looking dashboard, which I really like, especially with the way just basically the whole design of it. I really like it. Really matches this vehicle's vibe, and materials are also really good here. Of course, this is a Land Rover. We have really good materials. So here we have some soft touch. I don't know what this material is, but it feels like a mix of suede and leather, something like that. But it's really nice. It's really soft as well, and has some stitching on it. It's also colored like in this ivory color, which just looks really premium. Then on top, we have some soft touch plastics over here. They're textured and they do look like hard touch plastic, but when you do touch them, it's also really soft and really nice. Then moving here to the door, same materials as the dashboard, so that soft touch thing here, the ivory material, and then we have some hard touch plastics as well. But despite them being hard touch plastic, they all feel very high quality, very nice, and very it just really gives us a feeling of quality for these materials. But there are some other stuff here that do feel a bit cheap, and I'll be talking about them slow one by one. So here we have our steering wheel, our 4-spoke steering wheel, which also looks really nice, really matches again the vibe of this vehicle. It's also tilt and telescopic, which is of course always nice, and of course it's already expected at this price point. And as you can see, lots of adjustment, which is really good. So there we go. Then we also have here our controls for our trip computer on the left and volume control. That's one of those things that feel a bit cheap, feels like a toy, unfortunately, but that is how it is. Then we have our cruise control on the right, and then our horn. It's our typical European car horn, which sounds really nice, really loud. And then going to the instrument cluster, we have here our traditional analog gauges, thankfully, but it has a mix of a screen in the middle. I believe there's around 7 inches based on how it looks, and that shows our trip computer and various information, off-road information, and other stuff about the vehicle. And then going to the middle, we have our 10-inch touchscreen infotainment system with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, of course. So this is very responsive. It's very easy to use, very easy to understand as well, and everything that you want to know about the vehicle is already here, including our vehicle information. Again, the fuel economy is over there. That's even important in this car. And then our phone, of course, then settings, various information, and of course again Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, which is wireless. Again, I'm not a fan of that kind of connection, but so far I've only encountered a problem here once. And we also have here an 11-speaker Meridian audio system, which sounds really good. And then the only thing I have to say about this infotainment system is that there was an issue where at a certain time the speakers in front were the only ones that worked, then there was a time that only the ones at the back, so that was kind of weird. But turn off the vehicle, it works fine again. Moving down here, we do have our dual zone automatic climate controls and various functions as well. So first, for the climate control, we have a display on the knobs themselves showing our temperature, which is really nice, it looks really good. And also, you can adjust your fan speed by pressing a fan speed button here, which changes the right knob into the fan speed control. Then another button here will let us control our drive mode. So there is that over here. So there's a multi-function control area over here. We also have here our auto start stop button, different modes for the aircon, our hill descent control, our air suspension also. So we have 3 modes, normal, and then we have off-road mode, and also an access mode. So that's the lowest setting, and it's very easy to adjust over here. Even while you're moving, just make sure that the door is closed. And then we also have here our traction control or stability control and some other stuff here. Then next to that, we have our electronic gear shifter, which also looks really nice. I think it's one of the best when it comes to electronic gear shifters. It's very easy to use, just pull all the way back for drive, then to the left, of course, for manual mode and sport mode, and then for reverse, push all the way forward. And you can hear we do have parking sensors all around, and we also have our 360 cam over here, which is really nice. It's very clear, very easy to see, unlike some other vehicles. Then also park, just press to P on top. Then moving further down, we have 2 USB ports here, so one USB-A and one USB-C, a 12-volt power outlet, lots and lots of storage. So we really have an abundance of storage over here, in addition to what we have here in the dashboard already. So there's really a lot of storage here. We have a spot here we can hide our wallet behind the screen. There's really loads of storage, and also we have another USB-C port on the dashboard. Then going back here, we have 2 cup holders, which can also fit my big bottle, by the way, a wireless phone charger, and this really big center armrest with a rather small amount of storage for how big it is, but that is okay. Then going to the seats, we do have this some kind of leather material mixed with, I don't know what material this is, but it does feel really nice, and although it does cause some static at times, but I guess that's how it is also for this vehicle. But anyway, it's 12-way powered for both front seats, by the way, and they're very supportive, very comfortable. We have so much adjustment here. It's very easy to become comfortable here. Now we're here at the second row of the Defender, and since this is the 110, we have this comfortable second row right here. There's also an option for a third row, but since this just with the second row, let's just talk about this. So anyway, as you can see, I have loads of space here. It's really comfortable here actually. So I have lots of leg room, foot room, knee room is really plentiful, headroom as well, really good. So this is a really comfortable place to be in. The seats themselves, they kind of look flat, but they actually are very comfortable, and the materials the same as in front as well, same as the door panel as well, same material. So everything here is really good. By the way, my height is 5 feet and 7 inches, if you still don't know. Then features that you can find here, so you can see we have a really big panoramic sunroof, which looks really nice, really brightens up this cabin, especially here at the back with our privacy glass. Then down here we have 2 aircon vents with their own controls for temperature and fan speed. So this has a tri-zone automatic climate control. In front we have dual, of course. Here in the back we have another one, so tri-zone in total. And down there we also have 2 USB ports, USB-C if I may add, so it's really modern in here. Then here our center armrest with 2 cup holders, which is a bit low, but this will do, definitely okay. Then also, before we go, we can see it here at the back, you can see behind me, we do have some glass openings over here, which look really nice as well to brighten up this cabin again. So it really looks really nice. I guess now we can continue with our test drive. So now we're driving the Land Rover Defender, and this is actually my very first time to experience driving a Land Rover, or pretty much any British vehicle at that, and I think it's great that this is the first time I'm driving it. And before we talk about what I feel about this vehicle, let's talk about what's under the hood first. So under the hood of the Defender 110 P400X Dynamic is a 3-liter twin turbocharged inline 6 gasoline engine that produces about 400 horsepower and 413 newton meters of torque, paired to an 8-speed automatic transmission. And so far so good. I'm loving driving this car. It's really something, I just really feel like I'm the king of the road right now, because I sit so high. I can see everything, especially now that we're actually driving on the highest air suspension setting. So it just really feels good to be driving. It's really fast, actually. It's really quick. That's what you'd expect from a 400 horsepower engine, right? With also that 430 newton meters of torque. And it's also very responsive, and it sounds really good. So once you do put your foot down, it gives you so much, which It just really has that adrenaline which feels really good. Although I have to say, despite the great feeling about the engine, the transmission is a bit of a letdown because despite being a normal torque converter, 8-speed automatic, it does affect how the vehicle performs in a not in a so good way, because there are times that it does feel jerky, that there are times it does feel like it is gear hunting, so there is that. So there are times it feels confused actually. That's not so good, but at least other than that, everything else is good about this engine. And by the way, this is also a mild hybrid, by the way. So this comes with an integrated starter generator, or ISG, which turns off the vehicle when you stop in traffic. I have it turned off right now because it's not the smoothest, but it is there if you want to save some fuel, which we'll talk about later, the fuel economy, by the way. As for handling, there isn't much to expect from an SUV like this, especially being an off-road SUV, but still, it is pretty good. The steering itself is really light, which I really appreciate, but at the same time, it's not too light, so it still gives us lots of feedback, which I was surprised that this vehicle actually has. And there's really not much of a dead spot with the steering, unlike, let's say, a Jeep, but those are two different vehicles. But anyway, it feels really good. Steering wheel is large. I forgot to mention that it is really big, so that also adds to how this vehicle handles, because it actually feels like a boat sometimes. I'm actually confused if it does feel like a boat or if it doesn't, but there you go. So it does feel like a boat sometimes. I'm just confused about it. Still, it handles really well. Then when it comes to ride quality, that is where we have some differences depending on your chosen air suspension setting. So right now, again, we're on the highest, and with this mode, of course, being a Land Rover luxury vehicle, luxury British vehicle, you'd expect it to have really good ride quality, and that is the case with the highest air suspension mode. Same with the normal mode. So really good ride quality, really smooth. It really glides over the bumps on the road, all the imperfections. It's just really good. There's this road that I drive on that has a really bad pothole area, really bad rumble strips, and this Defender really passes over that with style. So really good. Then in the lowest mode, it is still really good actually, but at the same time, you'll feel a bit how it firms up compared to the other air suspension modes, but that is not a problem at all, because regardless, this car really rides really smoothly on the road. It just really feels expensive when you're on the road. That's it. Now, unfortunately, we're not able to take it off-road because we do have a very limited time with this car, but I'm pretty sure that this will do really well in that regard. But anyway, let's go back to how this performs here inside the city, which is actually where most of these will stay anyway. So after ride quality, let's talk about how road noise is insulated. It's really good as well, very quiet. Despite having all-terrain tires in this vehicle, it's really quiet. And also the outside noise is also very well insulated, so I'm pretty sure it's really loud outside right now, but right now it's really quiet here in this cabin. You can hear me very well, right? Wind noise is what does come in eventually because of the shape of this vehicle, so it's very understandable, not a problem at all when it comes to that. And at the same time, it's not loud anyway. Then another surprise for this vehicle with me is visibility, because most off-road SUVs don't have the best visibility, like the Toyota FJ Cruiser, the Jeep Wrangler, which we reviewed recently. So those don't really have the best visibility because of their shape. And here in the Defender, we have really good visibility. So again, like I mentioned at the start, we can see everything on the road, which is something it's a really good feeling. And then at the same time, we have really big windshield, we have really big windows, so they're really expansive, which really helps with the visibility. And despite this vehicle being really large, it does help that we have really good visibility here, especially in areas like now that it's really traffic, so it's really tight. But at the same time, the side mirrors could be better. Wish we had those wide angle mirrors, because it is really hard to see out of them, but that's okay. We also have blind spot monitoring, so that also helps as well. And then for fuel economy, I don't know if that's important to people who can buy this car, because if you can buy this car, you don't need to worry about fuel economy. So anyway, inside the city, this can do around 6 or 7 kilometers per liter based on my experience. So it's not much, but I also expected something like that. Again, if you can afford to buy this vehicle, you should not have to worry about fuel economy. The Land Rover Defender may be far from how it was before, but it still definitely keeps its iconic roots. Despite its high SRP, it's still a good buy. Maybe not for everyone, but if you have the money, this is one of those good toys to have and be proud of.